evil upon us and upon this city, yet ye bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath. My sisters and brothers, I'm telling you, I am afraid of him. I reverence him. Look, if I didn't have to go to work on the Sabbath, I wouldn't go. But I have no choice. And he knows that. But I remembered, I got it up here. And as soon as I get off, I make a beeline to my dwelling place. Right here. At home. And I don't leave. Why? Because I am remembering his Sabbath. Now, let's look at something else here. Let us go back to Exodus 20. See, because we need to see this. We need to understand this. Exodus chapter 20. We worrying about the moons and all right there. See, listen, let me tell you something. We cannot do all those days because those days the priest was operating on the moon Sabbath and all those feasts. If you go back and read it, there was a priest there doing the burnt offerings, doing all the burnt offerings and all that. There were a priest. We didn't have a priest now. But on the Sabbath day, he says, remember it and do no work on it. Even though we are in Egypt, you have to work because of your master and because of their customs in this hellhole that you live in. But if you go back and read the Exodus, he told Moses to tell Pharaoh to let my people go, that they may come and worship me. Huh? See, so he's going to do the same thing here. He knows that we can't do it properly, but he still wants you to remember it. That's all. Just remember it. And do the best you can. Just don't go out and say, well, okay, well, we're in Egypt. Well, I ain't gonna worry about it. That's the wrong approach. I guarantee you, that's the wrong approach. Because what you're saying is, oh, forget about him. Even though it's right in the pages, remember. Remember. Keep it holy. See that? Even if you can't keep the whole day, keep what you can keep. Holy unto him. At least you're showing him that you reverence him and that you trust him. But when you just go all out and say, well, I ain't worried about that's over. I can't do it. No, you don't want to do it. That's what it is. And they here in this hellhole, they plan everything around the Sabbath. Everything. All your sales, all the best deals, overtime, on your job, all that. Everything. Get your car worked on. Go buy clothes, go buy food. All the necessities is based around on the Sabbath. And nobody can see it. That is to show God disrespect. Israel, that is to continue to get you further and further away from your God. And when you throw up your hands and say, well, forget about the Sabbath, I can't do it, then you're just telling God, well, you know, I don't care. I don't care. I mean, even if it was only 15 seconds, he said, at least you thought about my 15 seconds. Remember it. And keep it holy. Keep it holy for 15 seconds. At least you're showing him that you're trying. But when you throw up your hand and say, well, okay, forget about it. I'm done. You know, we can't do that. We got all these other. Here you are. You're worrying about all these festive days, all these new moon Sabbath that are through all the middle of the week and whatnot. But yet and still, you don't want to reverence the seventh day, as he said. Now let's look at this thing again here, Exodus 20. Let's look at verse 8. He says, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. See that? Now let's jump down to verse 11. He says, for in 6 days the Lord made heavens and the earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rest the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath and the 7th day and hallowed it. My sisters and brothers, the 7th day is the Sabbath. I don't care what anybody says. God is the one that said it. And I'm saying what God says. And I ain't changing. So anybody else want to do anything else, that's up to you. You'll never be able to persuade LD any other way. God said the 7th day is the Sabbath, and I don't care whether I was on Pluto or any other planet. The 7th day on that planet is the Sabbath that I will honor the Most High on. So I mean, if there are individuals that don't want to do it, then hey, that's up to you. But I'm not going to waver. Until next time, my sisters and brothers, shalom. Our Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters, this is L.D. Smith, the watchman on the wall.
And this is V.E. Smith, the rib of the watchman.
All right. Israel, it is our Sabbath. Grab that King James. We got a fantastic one tonight. Oh, this is the one that you've been waiting for, and we promised you guys that we was going to do something special last week, and this is the one right here. This is going to put the icing on the cake. This is going to be a teaching about our Sabbath. How about that? All right.
Blessed Sabbath.
We're gonna stop all those miles about we do not have a Sabbath, but I'm going to prove it tonight. All right, as I always do. Okay, we're going to begin in the book of Genesis. And remember, Israel, I always say, if you want to know the truth, we always go back. So let's go back, all right? Now let's start with Genesis chapter 2. And we're going to read verses 1, 2, and 3. All right?
All right, Israel, I'm going to read, and I'm going to be looking over here on my laptop, so I'm going to not be able to look directly into the camera.
All right, she's going to read.
Starting with verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
And on the 7th day, God ended his work, which he had made. And he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made.
All right. Now, y'all see that? God rested on this 7th day, because if you read verse 1, it says, thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. So God had completed all of his work. And then he said on the 7th day, he rested. Now read verse 3 for us.
And God blessed the 7th day.
Heard that, Israel?
Listen closely. And God blessed the 7th day.
All right. The 7th day.
And sanctified it.
Set it apart. Made it special. Made it different from all other days. All the 6 days that was before, he made this day here separate. He made it special. All right. Now read.
Because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made.
See that, my sister and brother? He said in it. What are you talking about? That 7th day? That 7th day. That's what he's talking about. But see, we have to understand that whatever God makes and whatever God decides on and whatever God does, that's the end of it. You can't add to it and you can't take away. You just have to accept what God has done and said and leave it alone. Because look, he's not going to change it.
And something else y'all have to do when you read. If you take verse 3 alone, it starts out with something God did special to this day he didn't do to any other day. He didn't wait on the sun to come up, the moon to come up, the waves to roll. He said these words.
Read it.
And God blessed.
See that?
The 7th day. Now, anybody that can count, children can count. See, when y'all go off spiritual, you screw up every single thing.
There you go.
The simple. God blessed the seventh day. Then he went a step further and done something that you hadn't even heard him say he had did, even when he created man. He said, and sanctified it.
See that? I mean, if one cannot see that that day is special, something is wrong with you. How can you not recognize that that day is apart from all other days?
All other days.
I mean, it's simple. But simple, like when you allow someone else to teach you, and then you believe what your enemy has said, instead of you doing your own research, and then looking at it, and then asking the Most High to show you. See, because this information that we are sharing with you, this information always been here, but it has not been revealed. And see, the Most High, He revealed it to His children, the ones that He has chosen to reveal it to.
Right.
Now, we're going to go a little further. Let us go to the book of Exodus. Exodus chapter 20. Now watch this right here, my sisters and brothers. All right, we're going to start at verses 7. Let's do 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. All right?
All right, well, let me get 7.
Are you there? You get there, and we'll wait for you. Okay, are you there?
Okay.
Take your time.
We're going to do, starting at verse 7.
At verse 7.
See what he says.
Now look what he says.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain.
In vain. See that? All right?
For the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
In vain. See, so one has to be careful. I mean, if you're not going to respect God, then you're going to be in trouble.
Don't call yourself an Israelite.
That's why I always stress one has to be careful about the thing that he or she says. I mean, if you can't back it up by the word of God and then prove it, not just read scripture, but I need you to go in some depth and then
break it down.
Show what the Most High is saying. See, because if you don't, you will get yourself in trouble.
You got to say something that God has told you, not what you think, what you believe, what you see. Even what you see written on the page can say something different than what God wants it to say.
That's right.
So you got to come, when you bring something that you say is from God, God better add something to it. Now, let's read on. Let's see what he's saying.
Look what he says here now, verse 8.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Now think about that right there. I mean, honestly, Israel, think about it. Why would your mother or your father tell you when you were small, now remember to tie your shoes up now before you leave out the house now? Why? Because they know that you're going to trip and fall. You're going to hurt yourself. See, so they tell you to remember something because it is very important. See, God will not tell Israel to remember the Sabbath if He says that you can't keep it.
That's right.
I mean, why? I mean, that's like telling you that you can achieve something knowing that you can't, and then dangling out there in front of you and you still trying to get it.
Now, before we move on, we just left Genesis. But in Genesis, what most people get confused about the Sabbath is the sacrifice. Now let's explain this.
Right.
God Himself, He didn't need a priest, a prophet, or an animal. He said, I sanctify.
That's right.
it. So for those of you who believe you can't have a Sabbath without a sacrifice, God already sacrificed for the Sabbath. Because nobody sacrifices for the Sabbath. They were sacrificing for your sins. But right now, Israel, we'll get into that later. But just to let you know, this day is set apart and sanctified by God.
By God. Don't need man to sanctify. It's already have been established. And then, like we said here in verse 8, look what he says. He said, remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Holy means separated. Like I said, I mean, you have to separate that day from all other days. You cannot look at it as, well, you know, well, yeah, it's the Sabbath, but you can do this and you can do. No. And we're going to get down here and we're going to show you how this thing is laid out for Israel. Even though some may say, well, we're in Egypt. Yeah, we understand that too. Okay, and we're going to deal with that. But you still have to look back at what he says here.
Now,
he says, remember the Sabbath. Remember it.
Remember. Now, what you don't think, see, because you don't use your understanding, you use understanding that you've been taught. That's what these institutions are for.
That's
You go into their schools and their colleges, and they give you their institutionalized learning.